Hello, everyone, and welcome to the most anticipated season finale I have witnessed probably ever in league racing. It's absolutely phenomenal, the situation we are in. I will go through it shortly, but before that, welcome one and all to the Tier 2 Season 12 finale here in Silverstone. I am still recovering from a cold, so I should be fine, but I will do my best. I'm basically just tired, and my voice is a bit, you know. um, but I should be fine. And I can get past any disease to watch this race. It's going to be an absolute barnstormer. And, we have 5 drivers all within 6 points of each other going into this Tier 2 finale. We've got, shout out Tier 1 Season 2.5. Oh, Tier 1 Seasons 2 and 5. I see, right, yeah. But that was 3 drivers for Season 2. And 3 drivers for Seasons 5. This is 5 drivers within 6 points. And let's be honest, Rick, in Season 3, neither of us really had a chance. And Season 2, me and Aces didn't really have a chance either. It was more just hope. Copium. But this is far more than just some copium. This is a real chance for 5 different drivers to win this title. Enchiladadad leads the standings on 92 points. Aces is second on 91. Lawrence on 89. Extraek on 86 and Jacko on 86 points. Those are the top 5, and the constructors also 10 points in it between the leaders McLaren and Sauber in second place. This is going to be absolutely phenomenal, and I'm running a mod with Primeval for good reason. This race is dedicated to his late brother, Gerald Greenwood, who always wanted to see an F1 race at Silverstone, but sadly, very sadly, never got the chance. So this race dedicated to him, and we wish the best of luck to Primeval today in this race, which is very, very special to him. But here we go then. Round Sector 1 he goes, and down towards the sector line. What's it going to be in this first sector? A 27.85. That's the initial pace to aim for everyone as he comes through now Luffield. Tricky corner. You can have 2 different lines. You can go out and then back in like Primeval's just done, or you can hug the inside. Both work. It depends on driving style, really. In towards Cops, where there's been plenty of famous incidents, not just in league racing, but also in real life F1. Magnussen Beckett's now Primeval, flat through the first 2, a little lift through the next one, but he's invalidated, unfortunately, through Beckett. So instead we'll ride on board with Raikon, a newbie to APPF1 as of 2 races ago. So we'll see how he can manage through Magnus Beckett and Chapel Krauser. Oh, well, that's a shame for Krauser. That's extremely unfortunate. He's been disconnected and has had the disconnect bug, so he will take no further part in qualifying. He'll have to start this race from the back. Hopefully he can get back in the session. Raikon into the last chicane now. Jonathan sets the initial pace at 27.3 from the Season 8 champion. And now Raikon across the line. It's going to be a 28.7 from him, so quite a way off. So room to improve there. Krauser's back in, but he is soon going to discover what has happened. Lawrence up to P2. RJ P3. Jonathan's time looking very strong at the moment. Jacko only P4. Who's going to be next? Aces, the man in P2 in the championship. Quite a way off, only 4th place for him for the moment. What about Enchiladadad, championship leader, across the line, P2, 27.6, but Jonathan's time looking extremely strong right now. Mania also coming through the last few corners. That could be a front of the grid time, says Rick, for a 27.3. Mania disagrees. He's only just under 2/10 off, but still, that is a mighty opening lap from Jonathan even then. But Extrek, there were whispers about him in the paddock being the man to beat today for this finale, and he goes P2. Identical time to Jonathan. Quark beats both of them, but Extrek, well, the game can't really seem to agree on whether it's an identical time or 1,000th off. If you look at fastest lap time, they're identical. If you look at this, he's 1,000th actually faster than Jonathan somehow. But anyway, Jonathan and Extrek 2 and 3 on the same identical lap time, but Quark goes to P1, and he was also, there were some whispers about Quark in the paddock as well, that he and Extrek would be the drivers to beat, but Extrek, of course, only 6 points off in the title battle. He's currently sitting in 4th place. But if he can win this race, and both Enchilada Dad and Aces fail to finish P2, then Extrek would win the championship. That's how close this is, by the way. All Extrek and Jacko need is, if they win the race, just Enchilada and Aces to not finish P2, and they will win the title. That is how close 6 points is between all of these drivers. Scott has invalidated already, somehow, on his current run. But Tia, not a good first lap from him, so I think he's going to be going again. I think that's exactly what's happening right now. Excuse me, yeah, like I said, recovering from a cold, which is fantastic timing. Antone goes to P11 while we weren't watching, just ahead of Raikon, but here comes Tia now, into Max and Beckett. He's going to be hoping for a better lap time this time. I think he was flat through that left-hander there. I don't think he lifted off much at all, then braked for Beckett, but look at how much ERS he's got, barely any left. He is 1.9 up, but it's not going to be a time to set the world on fire, I don't think, from Tia here. Into the last couple corners he goes. And Tia into this final chicane. Oh, and a little bit of oversteer on the exit. Goes through the final corner, loses more time. It's P11, but he had no ERS left for that whole final sector, and also had that mistake in the last few corners. So there's more to come from Tia, for sure. And, well, Tia's... mathematically, he's still in the Drivers' Championship, but realistically, practically, he isn't. So his focus is going to be on the Constructors' Championship, rather, between Sauber and McLaren. Sauber currently 10 points behind McLaren, so they need something to happen here. Here comes Prime Evil. He's also out of ERS already, so it seems ERS is tricky to savour around this circuit in the qualifying conditions. You can use overtake, as Robsu found out only last week, round 9 of a 10-race season, but I'm glad he's eventually found out. Primeval goes to P12, very nicely done. That's much more like it from the Williams driver, and he'll be happy to at least be on pace with the likes of Antone and Raikon, as Alex G goes to P5 across the line, and he's looking to make a statement as well without his teammate here. Sumo unable to make it today for the finale, sadly, but Alex hoping to put in a good shift for Mercedes in his absence. So I'm on board with Drogon, as I believe he's going to be the next to set a lap. He's in Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel right now. Here he goes, down towards the last few corners. Drogon, DRS open, 20% battery left. He's still got plenty left for this final straightaway down here. Oh, maximizes Stowe. Very nicely done from the Italian, who had a broken thumb just a month and a bit ago, and has slowly recovered since then. But what's this lap time going to be? Across the line, it's a 28.4, very surprisingly slow, because that Stowe looked absolutely perfect from Drogon, but he is quite a way off. Raikon coming into the middle sector as well. He needs to find some time. Currently sitting bottom of the pile, other than the ones who haven't set a lap yet. But who's going to be next? It's going to be Jonathan, the Season 8 champion, but he is not improving. So instead we cut to not Lawrence, he's on an outlap. Who's the Mercedes behind Alex into the pit lane? And who's that Williams? I think that's Primeval coming round to try again by the looks of it on the same tyre, going for another lap. So interesting choice from Primeval there. Raikkonen coming to the line, 4.5 tenths up. This is much, much better. This will stand him in much better stead with the rest of the grid pace. Across the line comes Raikkonen, and it's P11. Nicely done, a 28.2, and that's an important lap to find at this stage. That'll give him some confidence for his final run in a few minutes' time. We've got, who have we got coming across the line? Aces, just getting out the way of someone. Must have invalidated, I imagine. So no improvement for Aces. We've got Mania coming across the starter lap, I believe. Quark and/or Antone. Antone coming across the line to starter lap. So it's going to be Jackalacco who we follow next. And he's 3 tenths up. Is the Season 10 champion. Through the last couple corners he goes, and the Scottish driver, hoping for his second Tier 2 title, goes to P7. Much better, 27.6, just 4 tenths off of pole position at the moment. And he's also 6 points off in the title fight, if you remember. Who's this now? I think it's Jonathan coming through. He's up by 1.5 tenths in the middle sector. Can he compound that in the final sector? Oh, not with a huge moment like that. And indeed, he lost all his time in that final sector. Primeval into the pits. He's not improving. What about Quark, our current pole sitter? Not improving through sector 1. In fact, identical time so far through sector 1. I think this is RJ coming through. He's sitting P2. He got there when I wasn't looking, I guess. Wasn't really paying attention to RJ, and suddenly he's up there in P2. But here's the championship leader, Enchiladadad, round the final few corners. Where can he put himself? The man from Ireland goes to P5, 27.377. It's so close out there. Scott goes to P11 in the meantime. Primeval crashed at the final corner. That's a big shame. He can get back and do a better lap. Antone to P9, better lap from the Brazilian as well. And I agree with Rick, RJ's improved so much in this last month or two. He's been very strong in Tier 2, but not as strong as that. A 26.8 for Quark, and I don't think anyone is going to be beating that one anytime soon. But who knows? We did say that Quark's lap last week was pretty unbeatable, and then someone beat it. So we shall see how the rest of the session goes. Still 5 minutes to go. Plenty of time for things to happen. Got Rob Sue on an outlap at the moment in the Aston Martin. On his first outlap, the second sector at the moment. He got into the session late, did the Finnish driver, so hopefully he can get something on the board before session end. Jonathan getting out of someone's way. Here comes Enchiladadad. I think he's going to be heading into the pits. Alex G. Here we go. Let's ride on board with the Ukrainian from, or the Mercedes driver from Ukraine, I should say. Into Sector 1 he goes. Little lock up for Turn 3, but not too bad. Through Turn 4 now and on to the, I believe this is the Wellington Straight. I really should know all of the names of all the corners and straights in Silverstone as a British commentator, but I don't. Not off by heart. I know most of them, but not all of them. Alex through Luffield now, though. 300ths off in the first sector, so he's going to need to find some time in this middle sector. What happened to those two Red Bulls? They got booted to Tier 1, and then one of them caused complete and utter carnage in the first Tier 1 race he was in, and then they both left. So, yeah, that's what happened to them. Alex G through Sector 2 at the moment. DRS open, and he's 3 tenths up. Here's Alex. He's looking for a front row lap here. If he can compound it with a good Sector 3, through Stowe he goes. Oh, very deep though in Stowe. Lost a lot of time. And down into the last chicane he goes. Alex G. Oh, a little bit squirrely on the exit, but down he comes through the line. Too much curb at the final corner and loses all the time he gained elsewhere in the lap, unfortunately. Krauser can't take control. Yeah, that's because he got the bug. He got the bug, JB, where if you disconnect, it sometimes DNFs you for no reason. So that's what happened. It should be absolutely fine when the race starts, as long as he's in the session. But anyway, he is showing on the timing screen, so yeah, it should be fine as long as he's in the session. Rob Su round the final corner, his first lap of the day, and it's 17th place, but it's on the pace at least. It's not a long way off, less than a tenth behind Drogon, and wow, he wasn't using any ERS by the looks of it. He's still on 60%, so yeah, plenty more time to find for Robsu. Raikon, though, in the middle sector in the meantime. Here he goes, down to the sector line, but he's 2 tenths down, so no improvement for him. Whereas Alex, not improving, has invalidated his current effort. Tyr also not on a competitive lap time. He's going to go again. Aces, though, in Sector 2, 2.5 tenths up for the man in second place in the championship. He desperately needs a better lap here. Into Stowe he goes. Round he goes. Very nicely done from Aces, looking to win his first ever APPF1 title. Despite being here since Season 1, he's never won a driver's title. He's hoping to change that today. Round the final corner he goes at 27.5. Much better. P7 for the British driver. But is it good enough? That's the question. Gets out of the way of Extrek, who's also on a lap. I think... How many of these 5 have led the championship? I think all 5 of them, actually. All 5 of these drivers at some point this season have led the championship. Jacko led after sort of halfway through. Extract led before him. Lawrence led early on. Ench leads now, and Aces led the race before. So it's absolutely phenomenal season this has been. I cannot wait to see how this is going to end. Extract, though, in Sector 2, looked a very good Sector 1. Into Cop's corner he goes, though. Is it going to be flat? Yes, flat out for the Norwegian, but a little bit of oversteer. Rick still thinks Tyr has a chance of winning the title. He does mathematically, I'll give you that. But practically, I really don't think so. Extract a bit too much through... Beckett, and that is going to cost him. Actually, there's only 30 seconds left in the session. I think that is Extract done for this session. He's not going to be able to improve. There's not enough time. Quark in Sector 1 at the moment, hoping to improve his already dominant P1 lap. Jonathan starting his final run. Jacko doing the same. That's the Williams of Extract. Then who's behind him? It's Aces. Is he going to be able to go again here? He is going to have to. 10 seconds to go. Is he going to get across the line? 6, 5, just about 4 seconds in it, and Aces gets one more attempt, but will ride on board with his teammate, who's going to be first across the line. That is qualifying done. Everyone on their last laps of this session, of the last qualified session of the season, and Drogon goes round at Stowe, and into the pits he goes. No improvement there. Scott is 6.5 tenths up, and the British driver could be looking to be a bit of a spoiler effect here. Goes to P2. Second place on the grid, front row for Scott as it stands, but will it stay that way? We've got the Aston Martin of Robsu into the pits. What about Enchilada Dad coming to the line? Hello to Marcus in the chat. Goodness me, I haven't talked to you in a while, mate. Good to see you. Glad to see that you are watching this thrilling finale. Ench improves time but not position. The McLaren of Lawrence is only P12 for the defending champion. What about the Aston Martin of RJ? He's going across. No, he bins it at the last couple of corners. What about Jonathan? Can the Season 8 champion get himself on the front row here? Down to the line for Jonathan is pole! It's pole for the Irishman. Quarks into the pits. He can't improve. Jacko improves to only P9. What about Aces? He's the last to go. 2 tenths up nearly in the second sector. He needs to nail these last couple corners, but he hasn't really got a lot of grip. To the line, it's fourth. It's a hugely important lap 4 aces versus kings. He goes onto the second row. Absolutely brilliant pressure lap for aces, and he is only 1 point behind Enchilada Dad in the championship standings, but he's 3 places ahead of him in qualifying. What a session that was. Quark did improve, I think. Actually, no, I don't think he did improve. It's just Jonathan beat him. And once again, for the second time this season now, we've said, well, Quark's time is surely unbeatable, and then it gets beaten right at the end. So there we have it. It's Jonathan and Quark, 1 and 2. The 2 Irishmen. Ignore the flag of, I believe, Jordan there. Scott to P3 though, alongside Aces on the second row, and then RJ and Xtrek in P6. Enchilada Dad P7. Mania, Jacko, Alex make up the top 10. Anton P11. Lawrence down in 12th. Tyr, Raikon, Drogon, Primeval, Robsu make up the rest of the grid, with Krauser at the back due to that glitch he got for disconnecting. But goodness gracious me, what a race this is turning out to be. Remember, our championship protagonists are Enchilada Dad on 91, Lawrence on 89, Xtrek on 86, and Jacko on 86 as well. And since Rick really wants me to point it out, Tyr on 73. Rick is very happy. So here we go for the formation lap, the last one of the season in Tier 2. It's Jonathan who leads away from pole position. We have not said that in Tier 2 for a very long time. It's great to see him back with Quark alongside on the front row. Let's get all of our stuff enabled. So most people starting on the... Well, I say most people, pretty much even split actually between softs and mediums for the start here. Drogon and Krause have both been DSQ'd somehow, but they will start the race. Not letting you load setup or anything. What do you mean? Oh, I don't want to do a lobby reset. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Park Ferme on? Yeah, always. Park Ferme's always on. We'll see. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, okay. Lobby reset. Let's reset. I'll get the session back underway. Actually, I guess Mania can. It's too risky for me to with my LAN cable. Okay. Bear with us, everyone. We'll get the lobby set up as soon as we can. Okay. Yeah, bear with us, everyone. Just, I'll get us back underway as soon as possible, or Mania will. The legend that he is. But in the meantime, everyone who is watching, as we get the lobby reset, let us have some predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win the title today? Enchiladad, 92 points. Aces, 91 points. Lawrence, 89 points. Extrarch, 86 points. And Jacko, also on 86 points. And Tyr on 73. No prizes for guessing who Rick predicts to win the title. He says aces. But Rick thinks aces, then Ench, then Jacko. Interesting. Would love to hear anyone else's predictions, see who gets it right. Aces to win the title. Aces again, says Palang. Extrarch from Primeval. I agree with Primeval. My pick is Extrarch. Bear with us, everyone. We've got a lot of people watching. Yeah, I do apologize, everyone. It's yeah, the game again. Yeah, I really wish they. I think the only thing I would say is, like, the main thing I want them to fix with these games is this stupid disconnect DNF bug. Because it screws over so many people all the time. That's the only bug I wish they would fix. It ruins lobbies as well, as it has done today. No, we're not doing quali again, Primeval. We're not doing quali again. We'll be straight into the race. Same grid order. I've just looked in Discord. Jacko. In the phony race that we just had, because we all had to leave the lobby, Jacko just took out the whole grid into turn 3. Oh dear. How will this work out? What do you mean? You can set a custom grid in the settings. So it'll be the same grid order as it was. Bear with us, it won't be too long, as I said. Who are we waiting for? Waiting for Rycon. Someone's just left again. Lobby resets, everyone. Especially with 18 people on the grids, they can be a finicky thing. Apparently it was Robsu who left. There he is. Okay, so we need just Robsu and one other person? Scott, I think it is. Yeah, it's Scott. I think Mania's forgotten to invite Scott, which is understandable. I would forget to invite Scott too. If I was in his position. He is probably panicking out of his mind. I do feel for him. I've been in this situation plenty of times. There we go. Everyone in. Okay. So it's up to just wait for Mania to set the custom grid, and we will be back underway once again. I'm going to say put formation lap off. Just checking. Okay, cool. I do wonder where all of this force feedback stuff is coming from, because oh, excuse me. I've heard it from so many people now on this game that their force feedback is just turning off at random times with the G29. I've got a G29. It's never ever happened to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just really lucky. I don't know, but I've seen so many people complaining about this exact problem, having force feedback just turn off at random times with the G29, particularly the G29. But I've had a G29 the whole game cycle, no issues. I've never ever had this problem, so I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know if I'm just lucky or if other people are just unlucky. Bear with everyone, I think we're nearly there. There will not be another reset if one or two people disconnect again. That's it now. Here we go. Here we go. The tension is palpable on this stream. A bit of a sort of anti-climax to the start of the race, but we're back in now and we're about to get going again. Just a couple of minutes to go. For some reason Lawrence is holding everyone up. Typical. There we go. Five drivers, one championship. Who will become the Season 12 champion of the world in APPF1 Tier 2? Here we go. 3, 4, 5, red lights. And we're underway for the Gerald Greenwood Grand Prix to finish off this season. Jonathan gets a good start from pole. Court gets wheel spin, but just about holds on. Aces down the inside of Scott for P3, with RJ in the mix as well. Aces down the inside. RJ sends it to turn 3, nearly hits the Haas, somehow gets away with it. Extrek in the mix as well, goes all the way around the outside of both him and Enchilada Dad. What a move from the Norwegian. He's up to P5. Alex battling with Mania for P8. Let's put position changes on the screen. Good start for Lawrence. He's up 2 already. Could be 4 as he goes down the inside of 2 cars into this corner. Brilliant start from Lawrence. Up 4 positions. Someone's round. That's Rob Sue. Sorry, no, that's Alex in the background going round. Just before Luffield, and Lawrence up to P8, Tyrion P11, Jacko down to 12th, disaster start for the Scottish driver, Enchilada Dad up to 6th, Extrek up to 5th, Aces up to 3rd, hugely important start for the Haas driver, as Mania now getting back past Lawrence for P8, great move from Mania, and I've got to keep the shouting to a minimum. I can already feel my voice going with this cold, but anyway, Drogon getting past Robsu in the background, background as they all fly down towards Stowe corner. Drogon trying to make another move on Raikkonen. Here is the Italian. He goes down the inside of Stowe. He's going to make it work. He could do 3 moves here on Primeval, who dives into the pits. Must be damage for him. And Jackalacko as well. Jacko into the pits, and who's that round? It's Raikkonen in the RB. He's round at Vale. Disaster for the Brazilian, and that is such a shame. Not the Brazilian, I do apologise, but that is such a shame. I got him confused with Antone for a second there. But round they go. Everyone else still in this race, but an absolutely horrible start for Jackalacko in P18 now in last place, and he needs a safety car now to get himself back in this one. But it's a championship finale with everything on the line and 5 drivers in it. I would not count out a safety car by any means at all. Here we go then through Sector 2. Extrarec being challenged by the championship leader, Enchiladadad. Remember, Ace is only 1 point behind him going into this race. No, as it stands, Aces is champion. Aces is champion at the moment, but Enchiladadad just needs to get within 1 position of him, and then it'll be down to countback, which I don't quite have the workings out for, but it would actually, he needs to pass him at this point because of the bonus for 3rd place. So yeah, Enchiladadad needs to make up ground here as Quark retakes the lead of the race from Jonathan, or takes it for the first time, I think, actually. Up to P1 goes the Red Bull driver, and Jonathan has to settle for 2nd for now, but Extract going for a move on Scott for P4. The Norwegian wants this title as well, but Enchiladadad also tries to make the move, clatters over the curb of the final corner, just about gets away with it. He's right behind this Ferrari. He's seen Extrarec go through. He needs to make this move, but he can't quite do it. And Scott stays ahead, acting as a bit of a spoiler effect here. And RJ slams it round the outside of Enchiladadad through turn 3 and looks to the inside of Scott for turn 4. Can he make it work? Not quite yet, but it's going to be side by side all the way down the Wellington Straight, or the Hangar Straight, whichever one it is. Enchiladadad right in the mix as RJ backs out big time, and Ench nearly went for an unintentional send around the outside as a result. RJ again very deep, and Ench takes that inside line. Thank you very much, says the Irishman, and he's up to P6. So let's look at tyres. As Rick says, all of the top 10 on soft tyres, with Krauser also in the softs, the mediums for a few, and hards for a couple as well. Jackalacko on the hards after pitting, but Lawrence has changed his mind. He's gone for the softs to start this race instead of the hards that he went for before the lobby reset. That is allowed. There's no rule against that. But anyways, lap 3 of 26. Jonathan going around the outside of Quark, side by side into Stowe. Can he make the move stick? Quark nearly forces him off, but leaves just about enough room on the exit, and Quark stays ahead, but Jonathan's still in the mix, and Ace is still up there as well. But look who's just behind him, one of his rivals, Extrarec, one of the protagonists in this championship, also looking to take this one. He's right behind Aces, and he's going to be putting the pressure on. Enchiladadad needs to make this move on Scott, or risks losing out on that top 4 train. And the championship leader really needs to get a move on here. He needs to be pragmatic. He can't just be passive and allow it all to happen, not in a championship finale like this. Jonathan down the inside of Quark, and that's done before the braking zone, back into the lead, but Quark comes back at him on the exit of turn 6, but Jonathan gets the braking right into Luffield and stays ahead, with Aces just about behind. Mania still battling with Lawrence at Luffield further back for P8, and the defending champion all the way around the outside as they approach Cops, and he makes that move back into 8th place. But Lawrence needs a good race here from where he is. He is not doing anywhere near enough as it stands, with his 4 of his rivals ahead of him, actually 3 of his rivals ahead of him, because of Jacko being down at the back. But Yeah, a lot of work to do for him. The top two swap again, but look how close Aces is to the back of that Ferrari, and look how close Extrek is to the back of the Haas. He looks to the outside, does the Norwegian, but decides against sending it. There's still plenty of time in this race. There's no need to go for some insane dive bombs at this stage. Maybe when we get to lap 24, then you can start seeing the insane dive bombs for championships, but not at the moment. I don't think there's any point in that right now. You just got to stay in it, and stay in it is what Extrek does, just behind the Haas driver, who is, as it stands, the Tier 2 champion for Season 12, but there's still 22 laps to go in this Grand Prix. We've got a 10-car train for P1, so plenty of opportunity for things to happen, and it's great news for Sauber as well, that that crash for Jackalacco. No points for Jacko right now. Lawrence down in 8th, and the Saubers in 6th and 9th right now. So as it stands, they stand to gain quite a few points. I don't think it's quite enough. It's I think they're like 2 points off as it stands, but Sauber, and with a great chance of snatching the Constructors' Championship in the season finale as well. 10 points is the gap going into this one between McLaren and Sauber. I think Haas are a little too far behind, especially with Drogon at the back now as well. But Raikkonen the first to get a track limits penalty. 3 seconds added to his name, and here comes Jonathan around the outside. Has to back out just before Stowe, but he's got to be careful here. Like I said, it's too early for big dive bombs. Who are the title contenders? Welcome to the stream, Stephen. The title contenders are Aces, who's in P3, Extrek in P4, Enchiladad, who's in P6, Lawrence, who's in P8, and Jackalacco, who's down in 16th after an early crash. So 5 drivers in with a shout as Extrek goes to the inside of one of his championship rivals for P3. He can't quite make the move, but he is hungry for that place, is the Norwegian. At the moment, Aces is champion if it ended right now, but Jonathan going to the inside of Quark further ahead for the lead of the race. These two swapping once again. Neither of these two in the championship battle, but they could have a big impact on it by finishing ahead of the big championship protagonists. To remind you of the standings going into this race, it is Enchiladad 92, Aces 91, Lawrence 89, Extrek and Jacko both 86. So 6 points in it between 5 drivers in this finale. The point system in APPF1, 20 points for a win, then 16, then 14, then 12, then 11, 10, 9, all the way down to 15th place getting 1 point. And then everyone underneath that getting 0. Here comes another swap for the lead. Quark to the inside of Jonathan, and simply making that move into Stowe corner. Aces again staying behind, staying sensible, doesn't want to go for any rash overtakes at this stage anyway. It's too early for that, but I'm sure we're going to see some absolutely crazy moves for championships at the latter stage of this race. If Extrek gets ahead of Aces, by the way, if it finishes Extrek 3rd, Aces 4th, win the title. He's far enough ahead of Extrek. He's 5 points ahead of the Williams going into this race. So if Extrek was P3 and Aces P4, then Aces would beat him by 3 points. But Enchiladad in the mix as well, the current championship leader going into this race by just a single point. Lawrence as well is in this DRS train. You can't count him out. He is the defending champion. He always ramps up the pace as the race goes on. So he may be down in 8th place at the moment. He may be in a bit, well, not quite no man's land, but at the back of this long DRS train, which is never what you want to be, but don't count him out. We saw what happened when people counted him out last week as Extrek and Aces go wheel to wheel into Magnus and Beckett's. They're still side by side through Beckett's, and Extrek gets his way through. What a move from the Norwegian. He's up to P3. A reminder that Aces still wins the title by 1 point if it ends like this over Enchilada, but Extrek is doing what he needs to do, and RJ down the inside of Ench for P6 in the meantime, and the championship leader has to give way, and now he's got another one of his rivals right behind him. It's Lawrence just behind. and Enchilada Dad is not in a good spot right now for this championship campaign, but there's still a long way to go. 18 laps to go, or 18 or 19 laps to go in this Grand Prix. A long way to go. I'm losing my mind. I'm delirious. It's a 5-car championship battle. It's brilliant racing, and I've got a cold, so I'm a bit delirious. I do apologise. Drogon and Jacko fighting it out for 16th place further back, but that's not going to matter in the context of the championship. But this is Lawrence down the inside of the championship leader, and he's up into 7th place and continues to rise up this grid after starting down in 12th. He is doing a fantastic job to get himself back in this one. And remember, he's only going to get faster as the race progresses. That is always how Lawrence goes. So do not count him out at this stage. Don't count any of these 4 out. Even Jacko, to be honest, he may be at the back, but one safety car and suddenly he's right back in it. And we know how good he is at profiting from others' misfortunes. He is so good at picking up the pieces. He's got a reputation for it. And if a safety car does end up coming out in this race, you bet that Jacko's right back in the fight for the championship. Extrek, a little bit of lag there for the Norwegian as he came out of Beckett's. I don't know if you all noticed that. Just teleported about 4 tenths in front of where he was before, but he remains P3. And hopefully that lag doesn't cause too many issues. Hopefully it's not too bad as the race goes on. Alex losing a couple positions because he's into the pits is the Ukrainian. An early stop for him on those medium tyres, hoping to get a bit of an undercut on the drivers ahead. But Extrek staying behind Jonathan for now. No move being made. Jonathan too far behind Quark as well to make a move for the lead. So no swapsies for the top 2 at the moment. I think Quark's starting to get into his rhythm. Jonathan's starting maybe to struggle a little bit. Perhaps a small mistake from Jonathan on the previous lap that we didn't see. That dropped him some time, but he's certainly not going to be swapping for the lead anytime soon unless a mistake comes from the Red Bull. Aces in the mix. Still, as it stands, the championship champion, the champion of Tier 2. I'm going to get a lot of words mixed up today, guys. I'm just going to say it outright. But here comes Exterek, and he's going for P2, and he's got 2nd place. Exterek into P2 in this crucial race, and he's now 2 places ahead of Aces, and as it stands, he would gain 4 points on Aces versus Kings. It's still not quite enough. Who has the fastest lap? Tier. So none of the protagonists. Enchilada Dad, though, the championship leader, into the pits, trying to undercut all of these guys and gain a few places. I think that's a very wise move from Enchilada Dad. But as it stands, Exterek is going to be 1 point behind Aces. Aces still leads, is still going to be champion if it ends right now. But Exterek is just half a second behind Quark and looking very fast indeed. And the Norwegian driver, he joined this season to APPF1, made quite the impression midway through when he won his first race in the league, but he's just been pretty consistent the whole way through this season. He missed one race early on, he missed another race thanks to a technical issue, so you know, he will feel that he should be well ahead in this championship already, so he's definitely going to feel that he deserves it if he does manage to become the champion today. RJ, by the way, making a move on Scott further back, and look at this, Lawrence is 1.3 behind thanks to that undercut from Enchilada Dad. He has lost DRS for the top 6, and Lawrence could be in a bit of no man's land here. He's surely got to stop for the undercut, I would imagine, or at least to try and cover off Enchilada Dad and get himself back in this race, because at the moment he's just losing bunches of time to the guys ahead of him. He does indeed come into the pits, but so does Quark from the race lead, and that means Exterek leads the British Grand Prix on lap 11 of 26. And, Primeval may be in last place, but I think his brother would be happy if his teammate managed to win the Drivers' Championship for him today. And at the moment, that is exactly what's happening. As it stands, Extrarech is the champion. But of course, remember, these top 6 have not stopped yet. And Quark comes out the pits in a comfortable P7 by the looks of it. But where's Enchiladadad? He's coming through turn 1 now. Where are the drivers ahead? He's just ahead of Lawrence. And there we go, just behind Scott, but he's gotten himself back in this one, and Lawrence has gone onto the hard tyres. He thinks they're going to be better than the mediums. It worked out for him last week, so why not? But is it going to work out again for him today? Who knows? We have yet to find out. Here comes Enchiladadad, the championship leader, round the outside of Scott into the left-hander, but there's contact on the exit. Scott runs him a little bit onto the curb, but Ench keeps his foot in on the inside of Luffield, and they're going to go side by side down towards Cops. Enchiladadad needs to make this move. Those top guys still haven't stopped, so he stands to gain quite a lot here, but he backs out before Cops. He's not willing to take that risk, and could that be a mistake from the Irishman? I would have kept my foot in if I was him there, even fighting for a title. You've got to keep your foot in there on the inside of Cops, for me anyway, but he just wants to play this safe for now. 2 of the top 6 into the pits. Extrek and Jonathan both in as well, but of course Ench now is going to get the DRS, and he will get past, but he lost quite a bit of time, I would say, at least 2 or 3 tenths in overall by staying behind Scott for that long. Scott looks to the inside but doesn't send it, as Robsu gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that's a real shame for the Finnish driver. But out comes Quark. Where's Extrek and Jonathan? Extrek coming out the pits now. Where's Quark? He's just ahead of them, but only just. Look at this. Extrek and Jonathan, though, go wheel to wheel on the exit of the pit lane. What an exit for Jonathan. But Extrek still steals it around the outside of the next corner, and they both get a bit of oversteer there, but Extrek stays ahead and has the DRS, crucially, so he will be able to stay in touch with Quark. It does a little bit of weaving to warm the tyres. Could he regret that? That'll lose him some time on the straight, and Jonathan nearly into the back of him, and Extrek could lose out on DRS to Quark. That, I feel like that's a rookie error if he does lose DRS here, thanks to that weaving, just to warm up the tyres a little bit. It's a little bit of a rookie error. He does drain the ERS to get back on touch, but look at this. RJ now into the lead, gets past Aces, and when are these two going to pit? Antone 12 seconds back, but there we go, finally into the pits for these top 2, but Aces versus Kings is going to lose out here, I believe, to the undercut. We will see. Extrek, no DRS. Oh, he just about got it. Just about got the DRS on Quark, but for how much longer? He would have lost 2 tenths, I reckon, at least, doing that weaving down the straight, and I do think he's going to end up regretting that. Down they come towards the Vale chicane, and he's not going to get DRS down towards down the hangar straight. As it stands, here we go, 9.5 tenths. It's very, very close, but where are the guys coming out the pits? Aces and RJ, here they come out the pits now. Where are they? Where are they? They're nowhere. They're way behind. And Enchiladadad goes past Aces versus Kings. It's a disaster for Aces. He was leading. He was, as it stood, the champion before the pit stops. And now he's at the back of the train again. And he's given himself so much work to do. He may have 3-lap fresher tyres than Enchiladadad, but track position is going to be so important here. Here in the meantime for the constructors battle in the as this was all going on, getting past Lawrence, and I do believe as it stands Sauber would win the constructors championship over McLaren, so that is quite a big overtake. But Lawrence of course is going to come alive in the later stage of this race, but is it going to be soon enough? That's the big question. Is he going to have enough time to get himself back in it? Because he's going to be on the hard tyres. He'll come back by a little bit, but goodness me, he's given himself a lot of work to do here unnecessarily. He's gone for the other strategy, and Extrek being passed by Jonathan for P3. And how important could that be in the context of the championship? Extrek back at him on the exit of Stowe, down the inside of the Vale chicane. A bit of contact between the two, just a little bit of wheel banging, and Jonathan under push from RJ, and RJ's round at the final corner. He cuts across the grass to get back on the circuit, but he's not going to be a happy man. But I do think he put his nose where there, it didn't belong there, and that could be why that incident happened, but I'm sure RJ will take a quite different view. Down to turn 3, Lawrence still keeping on board with Tia, but he's got Mania for company now as well, and those hard tyres are still going to have some warming up to do. But look at this, Enchilada Dad is now up to P5 and challenging Jonathan for 4th place after that little incident between himself and Extrek, but Ench goes a little bit too far on the inside. That probably would have been a track limits warning there, and is track limits going to come into play? Are there going to be penalties here that are going to be applied? That's the question. But Enchilada Dad stays ahead of Aces. That is the crucial thing. If he drops behind Aces, Rick, quick, I don't have time, I've got to keep an eye on the action. Look at countback for me. If Ench finishes 1 place ahead, or if Aces finishes 1 place ahead of Ench, and they're on equal points, who wins? That's my question for you. Find out for me if you can. But Quark now into a runaway lead of this Grand Prix after the pit stops, thanks to all that battling between Extrek and Jonathan. Of course, Aces doesn't have a win, so yeah, on countback, Enchilada wins the championship, but he's not going to need countback as it stands. He gets past Jonathan for 4th place, and Enchilada Dad is now back in the driving seat for this championship, but Jonathan back on the inside. He's not willing to play second fiddle here. He's not willing to say, you know what, you guys just race on. You're in the championship fight, I'm not, so it's fair enough. You guys just go for it. I know some drivers who would be like that. Not Jonathan, not the Season 8 champion, and he challenges Extrek again at the next corner, and he goes down the inside, and he makes the move up to P4, and Enchilada Dad under pressure from his main rival at this stage. Aces around the outside of Luffield, but he can't get the exit he wanted, and Ench stays ahead. But this is critical stuff here for this championship. Lawrence wins on countback on Ench and Exorek, but I mean, Lawrence at the moment isn't in this on those hard tyres. He's going to need to get back into it in the last few laps, but he's given himself so much to do. Through Magnus and Beckett's they go. Now through Chapel, but Ench is a bit wide. That'll lose him maybe a 10th, maybe a little less. It's not enough to cost him position to Aces. It might be enough to stop him from overtaking Jonathan, but that DRS overspeed is too much for the Ferrari. But he comes back on the switch, back on the exit. Here comes Jonathan back to P4 and stays ahead of the Irishman, and Ench back to 5th place. But he still, as it stands, would win the title. Antone finally comes in, so he won't play a part in this one. He won't be a bit of a spoiler effect as the one guy who has, but I think too far back to be any threat to the front group. Thank you, Spoidley, in the chat. Good to see you. I do appreciate it, but yeah, what a race, what a championship this has been, what a finale this could be and has been so far. Enchilada Dad again to the inside of Jonathan for P3. Jacko Lacko is out. Jacko's out, and it's a safety car. Safety car. Jacko has binned it at the final corner. Let's see the stricken McLaren. Oh, we can't see it. He just despawned. But Jackalacco is out of this race and out of the championship fight as well. And that safety car is going to bring everyone back into this. And who's going to come into the pits? Are they going to pit for softs? That's the big question. And you know who's the big gainer here? Antone. He's already pitted for the soft tyres, so he's going to be well ahead of everyone else if they do all decide to pit. Because of how slow this pit lane is. But Jackalacco binning it at a crucial time in this race with 10 laps to go at the end of this one. And this championship is still wide open. Quark in, Extrek in as well from the top two. Jonathan, Ench, Ace is staying out. Ace is staying out in the medium. Scott stays out as well. Lawrence into the pits, getting off those awful hard tyres. I'm not surprised. Tia also staying out is the Sauber driver on the mediums. And, well, this means Aces is going to be the front of the field with Scott and Tia behind him and RJ as well staying out. But I think that's his AI, so that could come into play. And Aces now has a huge opportunity. Cork, X-Rec and Jonathan onto the softs. Mania and Anton stays out, of course. Mania also onto the softs. How many positions is Anton going to gain? A lot! He gets ahead of Jonathan, so a bit of a spoiler effect there as well for the Brazilian. And now Jonathan just behind him with Enchilada Dad down in 9th place after all is said and done. I've no idea how that's happened. I guess that's just the order. Yeah, that's just the order of things. Wow. Wow. Here we go. X-Terek in P6, but Aces leads this race. Enchilada Dad down in 9th thanks to the safety car, but they've all come in for fresh tyres. This is going to be an absolutely manic last stint. And I'm very, very, very sorry for the stewards for what is probably going to occur in these last few laps. RJ has been a victim of the disconnect DNF bug. So yeah, that's super unfortunate. Like I said before the race started, this is the one bug. If they're going to fix any bug in this game, fix that bloody one, that bug, because it's so annoying. It ruins races every single week. That's just the game, Rick. It was definitely the bug. He wouldn't have rejoined immediately if it wasn't the bug. But anyway, so that's RJ out of this race, unfortunately for him. I won't count that as if you're watching RJ. I won't count that for your ELO rankings. I'll just leave you out of it. Rick, can you tell RJ in the chat? I don't know how he doesn't know about this bug yet. It's been in the game for 1.5 years now in Discord. It happened to Lawrence as well. It happened to Lawrence in Singapore earlier this season, so... But yes, we have time for a bit of a breather. I have time to get my breath back, because I am running out of breath with this cold. And with all this drama. We've got 16 cars in this Grand Prix. Primeval is going to rejoin as well. Let's have a look at penalties. 3 seconds to Primeval, Raikon and Anton. Those are the only penalties on the grid thus far. Raikon has stayed out on the hards. He's going to get absolutely eaten up by all the soft tyres behind him. He is, I think, the favourite to finish last at this stage, unfortunately for him. Is the safety car going to wait for Primeval? That's the big question. Through Sector 2 they go. We're going to find out shortly. Comes to the sector line. No, it's not going to leave him behind, but it might still come in if he catches up quickly enough. It might come in right before the pit lane. Here comes Primeval round Chapel. The safety car's just coming round Stowe. It might come in. It might come in right at the death here. I think it's just too late. Yeah, it's just too late. It's going to go around one more time. So we will get one more safety car lap to catch our breath. But here's the situation. Aces versus Kings, 5-lap-old mediums. Scott and Tier, 7-lap-old mediums each. Sauber with an amazing chance to take the Constructors' title in the final race, with Tier in 3rd and Enchilada in 8th, with Jacko out and Lawrence down in 9th. Enchilada Dad and Lawrence have both interestingly gone for the mediums to finish off this race. If it were me, I would have strapped on a set of softs, but we'll see if that pays off for them. Raikon obviously staying out in the hards will be a spoiler effect to those behind, but there are no championship protagonists behind Raikon, so he is sort of That little white hard tyre icon is sort of the divider right now between championship protagonists above and not championship protagonists underneath. But that's not to say that those underneath icon right now can't have an effect in this race. I'm sure they will overtake the RB pretty quickly once the safety car does come in, presumably at the end of this lap. I do need to catch my breath a bit. I am running short of breath. I think I'm going to be dead by the end of this race, everyone. But it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Safety car is indeed in this lap, and Aces versus Kings will lead us off. As it stands, he will win the title. But there's plenty of racing to come. There is still going to be 7 laps of the Silverstone circuit, of this Gerald Greenwood Grand Prix, to finish off this season and to decide on a champion. When is he going to punch it? Aces into the Vale chicane. He's going to leave it late. He's going to go here. He's gone, got a bit of oversteer as he went, but he has gone, and Scott and Tier lose out behind, and here comes Tier on the back of Scott. Looks to the inside of turn 1 perhaps, but no, backed out of it, and now here comes Quark and the rest behind them. Extrek in the mix. Here they go, down towards turn 3. No rash moves being made yet, but there's plenty of time for that still. Oh, and Antone into the back of Extrek into turn 3. That could be, or turn 4 rather, that could be costly for the Norwegian, but he's fine for now. But Antone in the mix here, the Red Bull driver, bit of a spoiler effect. He does have that penalty to his name, but Extrek staying ahead, and Jonathan to the inside. Jonathan again loses the rears with the contact as well with Antone at turn 6, and Enchiladad loses out to Lawrence as a result of all that, trying to avoid all the contact, and here comes the defending champion. They're going to be side by side through Cops. Lawrence is not going to back out of this one. Oh, and he pays for it. There's a little bit of contact. I think he just turned in a little too late, perhaps, and Enchilada turned in a little earlier than he thought, but I don't think anything particularly wrong with that. Just a wheel bang as they went through. Alex to the back. I don't know how that's happened to the Ukrainian, but and there he goes. Still plenty of time for him to get himself back in this one. But Ench crucially staying ahead of Lawrence. But he needs a lot more now. Aces still leads this Grand Prix. But Tier right behind. Quark right behind. Extrek behind the Red Bull as well. Trying to make a move past. Antone in the mix. The 2 Red Bulls. The bread in an Extrek sandwich here. Extrek looking to the inside of turn 1 perhaps, but it's going to be down towards turn 3 where any moves are going to happen in the braking zone. Extrek maybe looks to the inside. I would have dived there if it was me, to be honest. But no, he backs out of it, and Antone makes him pay the price for backing out of it. He goes down the inside of turn 4, but Extrek again keeps his foot in and again stays ahead, but he's under huge pressure from this Red Bull. But Antone loses out on the straight, and here comes Jonathan now to the inside of the Red Bull. Antone breaks extremely late, and Jonathan takes full advantage. Thank you very much for the Ferrari. Round the outside for the next corner, and Extrek down the inside for Luffield on Quark for P4. He's trying to make this move done. He's to the inside, and it's going to be side by side for Cops once again. Can Quark stay ahead? Can Extrek make the move? He needs to make it happen. They're still side by side through Cops. They make it through, but Extrek still side by side. Finally has to back out before Maggots. Jonathan's there as well. Lawrence and Ench battling as well further back. Ench losing time, and the championship leader can feel his championship hopes slipping away with each place he loses here. Extrek still P5. Ace is still leading this race. Here comes Quark to the inside of tier 4 Stowe corner, and Extrek's going to try and follow him through. They're going to be side by side down towards the Vale chicane. Extrek stays out of it. Jonathan, oh, there's contact and Tier's round, and he loses out a couple of places. Anton's just about there, but he backs out, and Lawrence in the mix as well. Mania's here too. This is absolutely crazy stuff. 5 laps left to go. Alex is out of this race. He's retired in the pit lane. Tier and Anton go wheel to wheel again. This could be big for the constructors battle, with Enchiladadad now down in P10. Could be P11. It's gone from bad to worse, this for Enchiladadad, but a mistake for Mania. Loses him a few positions now. Back into P9, but I think McLaren is still going to get away with the constructors as it stands, but someone way off the track, that's Krauser, up to P10, and we haven't seen him all race long. Lawrence makes another move for McLaren in the constructors. He's up to P7, and I think McLaren would win the constructors as it stands now. But we're still going in this race. 4.5 laps left to go. I am losing my voice. My head feels funny, but if I die, it's worth it. This incredible race. Scott is staying ahead of Extrek for now, but for how long? Tears down to P8 after all of that commotion. Quark, here he goes on the exit of Chapel. What a brilliant exit that was, and Extrek's in the mix as well. He's not using ERS for now, but he's going to surely go for a send into the chicane if needs be. Quark looks to the inside, looks to the outside, but can't make a move. Gets the better exit of Stowe. Is he going to dive bomb into Vale? Yes, he is. The Red Bull around the outside of Vale chicane. Extrek just behind. Can he make a move on both of them down to the final corner? Not quite. Scott forced off the road, and through goes Extrek past both of them into second place. And Extrek, if he can get past Aces now, could win this title with 3.5 laps left to go. Anton gets past Scott as well. Scott's not going to be happy with being forced. That is just hard championship finale racing. Jonathan now with Lawrence alongside perhaps, but here we go. Down they go towards turn 6. The two Ferraris just ahead of the defending champ, who is feeling his championship hopes slip away as well. Tier with a penalty as he gets passed by Drogon, and Sauber's constructors' hopes are going down and down and down with each lap that ticks past. Quark just behind Aces, but Extrek just behind Aces rather, with Quark behind him. And Rick is absolutely right in the chat. Extrek to win the title needs Aces to finish P3. He can't afford for Aces to be second. He needs Quark to get past as well. There's no teammate here for Extrek to back up Extrek. He just needs to hope that it goes his way, and he is right behind that Haas, and Aces hasn't saved up much ERS. He could lose this in the last few laps here, Aces. He went for the gamble. He didn't pit. He stayed out on those medium tyres, but these softs are looking clearly the better tyre at this stage. But is that going to remain that way for these last 3 laps? Are the mediums going to become the better tyre again? I wouldn't have thought so since they're older. Here comes Extrek. Can he make the move into turn 3? No, he stays behind. Quark stays behind as well, crucially. That's what we've got to focus on, because if Quark really starts getting into this and starts trying to overtake Extrek or dive bomb him at any point, then that could be a huge break for Aces versus Kings. Here comes the Williams from Norway. He looks briefly to the inside but decides against it. Still 2.5 laps left to go, and this championship is well in the balance. And Lawrence and Scott are both round at Luffield. Lawrence reverses back onto the track, but that is his championship surely over. The two Red Bulls now change positions briefly as Anton tries to get past Quark, but Quark stays ahead. The Brazilian is right in this race, but he does have that penalty, and Lawrence and suddenly Sauber look like they're going to win the constructors after all. It's been an absolute disaster for McLaren today. It has gone so horribly wrong for them. But here they go, down towards Stowe corner. Extrek looks to the outside of Aces and takes P1. Extrek leads the British Grand Prix. Aces is P2. He's doing just enough for now, but he needs to keep Quark behind. As it stands, Aces wins this championship by 1 point. I'm not dying. Guys, I'm fine. I promise. 2 laps to go. Quark just behind Aces, but he needs to keep in DRS of Extrac. And at the moment, he is falling away. 6.5 tenths, 7 tenths as they go through turn 3. Turn 4 now, 7.5 tenths maybe. Yeah, 7.5, and Aces is falling away, 8 tenths, and here comes Quark. Extra Egg needs him to make this move. Quark looks to the inside, but stays behind Aces for now, and Aces is still just about doing enough, but those tyres are getting worse and worse on that Haas car. 6.5 tenths, 7 tenths as they go through Lovefield. Can Aces stay within DRS? That is the crucial thing. I don't know if he knows that he has to stay P2. I don't know if he's run the numbers or if someone's telling him in the party. I don't know. But Aces here is under pressure from Quark into Magnussen Beckett's. Quark's to the inside and Aces stays ahead for now. But how much damage has that done to his bid to stay with Extrac? Does he have DRS? Yes, he does, but here comes Quark. Neither of them have anything left in the ERS department, and Antone gets both of them. Oh, and Aces is round. Aces is round at Lovefield on the penultimate lap, and Aces championship is up in smoke. Antone went to the outside. It was a 3-wide incident. I don't think anyone can really be blamed for that one. Aces will be absolutely unbelievably furious, but it was a 3-wide incident. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think anyone was at fault there. It was just 3 wide. It was just one of those. Drogon, by the way, is somehow 4th place and now 3rd place as he gets past Quark, and Enchiladad is still in this because there's penalties to Antone and Drogon on the final lap, and as it stands, Enchiladad might win the title. Let's look at the penalties. Let's get them on the screen. It's 3 seconds to Drogon. It's 3 seconds to Antone. It's 3.9 between, or just about 3 seconds between Ench and Antone. Enchiladad might win this. It's so close. He needs to get P2 to win the championship on the final lap. There's still 3 seconds to Antone and Drogon, but Ench is 3.3 behind Antone. He needs a big boost of DRS here, but Antone's going to get it as well, and he needs Antone to make a mistake, surely. Through they come, down towards Stowe. Who's going to win the title? Extrac or Enchiladad? Here comes the Sauber down the inside of Drogon for P3, but is it going to be enough? 3.4 seconds to the lead, 3 seconds to Antone. Where's he going to be at the end? Antone comes across the line. He's going to come. Extrac wins the Grand Prix, but has he done enough? Can Enchilada do it? Down to the line. He doesn't get it. He misses out on the championship by 0.2 of a second, and Extrac is your Season 12 Tier 2 champion by 1 point. Oh my god. Drogon has fastest lap. Oh my god. Oh my god. And Sauber have won the Constructors, by the way. Just to update you on that. Thanks to Lawrence's incident with Scott. There was always going to be some incidents in the latter stage of this race. With a safety car at the end, bringing everyone together, there were always going to be incidents. Always, always, always. It was always going to happen. But as far as I saw, Extrac himself did nothing wrong that race. There will be plenty of stewards' inquiries, but I don't think, from what I saw, any will be aimed at Extrac. So I think I'm happy to say that Extrac is the Tier 2 champion. He wins the Silverstone Grand Prix ahead of Antone, who gets his first Tier 2 podium, but we'll see what happens after stewards. Enchiladad in 3rd place. He loses the title by just over 0.2 of a second. Quark finishes 4th place in the end. Mania in the top 5. Krauser in P6. Drogon in P7. Jonathan in 8th. Robsu 9th. Scott in the top 10. Raikon in P11. Tier in P12. Lawrence 13th after that incident at the end. Primeval in 14th. Aces finishes a lap down after his retirement on lap 25. And then Alex, RJ, and Jacko unable to finish the race. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm going to get the guys in for interviews. I'll get the top 3, and I'll also get Tier because Sauber have won the Constructors. Oh, we can't get X-Trek. He's on PC. Damn. That's a shame. But we can get Tier, Ench, and Antone. Let me get the party up and running. I mean, what can you even say? What can you even say? That moment on the last lap when I realised that suddenly Enchilada was back in it. I thought it was over. As soon as I thought Ace's spin, I thought, well, X-Trek wins the championship. And then suddenly Ench was in 4th and the 2 ahead of him had penalties. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Read 10 messages up, you say. I'll do that exactly that in just a second. We've got Enchilada Dad. We're just waiting for his teammate Tier, and also Antone, if they join the party. X-Trek wins on a dead heat, does he? Oh yeah, so he does, because it was Ench and not Aces. Okay, we'll see if Tier can join in. I doubt Antone will be in. Yeah, and Antone doesn't have a microphone, so. We'll just get the Constructors champions in here for an interview. But I think we've waited long enough for Tier. I'm sure he'll join in a second. Enchilada Dad. Well, last week you weren't sure if you would make it to this race. Here you are, but there must be a part of you that wishes that you didn't have the hope, and that you had missed the race instead. But goodness me, I mean, what a race you drove! But to miss out on the championship by 2.5 tenths of a second must be absolutely gutting. I hand over to you. How was it? I know you've won the Constructors, but we'll get on to that. We'll talk about the drivers first.
Before I answer, have you worked out how much the Constructors gap is? Like, how many points ahead will be?
I haven't worked out the gap.
Okay, because when you say I'm 2 tenths off the lead, I will probably be at least 5 seconds off the lead in a second.
Oh, do you think you're going to get a penalty?
Yeah, I took main. Yeah, well, he went
Ah,
around a bit, and
okay,
he said he will report it 'cause I apologize. So that's at least five
okay.
seconds anyway.
I
So
think
yeah, that makes it less bad that I lost by 2/10. So
yeah, I suppose so. I
mm,
think I think even with a 5 second penalty, you guys will win the
okay,
constructors because Lawrence was last,
mm,
and Jacko was out. So
yeah,
I think you guys are still champions. But yeah, I
mm,
mean, despite that, let's ignore the possible 5 second penalty for now. Um, how was that? Because from
uh,
my point of view, I'm out of breath and feel like I'm about to die.
most cars on track died anyway. It was very frustrating to drive, to be honest.
Yeah,
Some people were defending hard to help other people, which is fine, and I tried to undercut because I was dropping backwards in the train and I was getting frustrated, and I gained a few places from that. And I think the position I was in before the safety car came out would have been enough because I think I was going to be able to keep aces behind. I was just battling with Jonathan and trying to get past him, but then when I got past, I wasn't in DRS. But I think even if I stayed behind him in fourth, I would have still won because extra was only second. So then I didn't have the balls to not pit onto the safety car. I think that would have been the right decision in the end. And yeah, and then just after the safety car, all rules went out the window. And I think there might be
yeah.
10 plus reports of this race or something.
Yeah, stewards are going to have fun.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, still, what a race you drove. I mean, it looked like you would win for the longest time. And then for a while there, after the safety car came out, suddenly it looked like you had no chance. And then Aces spun round, and then suddenly you were in fourth and in with a chance again. I mean, it must have been a roller coaster of emotions. What was your? Do you know what your heart rate was in the last
I had
couple of laps?
no idea. I feel it. uh, it's probably gone down a bit anyway, but yeah. Once the stage goes out, I thought it was done until like the last lap when I saw like Anton had 3 seconds and
Yeah,
I was 3.1, I think. It went down to like 2.8, then back up
yeah,
higher. It was just going up and down. Then I had to get past Drogon as well, so that didn't help. So I think I had
yeah.
to go below 10% ERS, which probably slowed me down at the end. And
I think
couldn't do it. But it
if
wouldn't have mattered anyway, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, well, if Antone hadn't been in DRS of Extract, then you would have got him. That was what
Oh,
did it.
uh,
But
I wouldn't have that
yeah,
was tactical.
I don't know. No
That's
idea.
fair play if that was.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, congratulations on the constructors, though. I think that is a very deserved
Yeah.
consolation prize, as it
hmm
were. So congratulations on that, and hopefully, despite you being at uni, we'll see you next season.
We'll be here. I'll see how many races I can do. Hopefully, the majority anyway.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations again, and but also commiserations. It's not often I get to
Mm.
say that.
Well, to be honest, I didn't expect to be within contention this season at all, so a constructor's completely happy with.
Congratulations then. And we move on to your teammate who has also won the Constructors' Championship tier. Well, I mean, again, for the longest time there, it looked like you guys were out of the constructors battle and McLaren were fine, and then Jacko crashed, Lawrence spun with Scott, and suddenly you guys were in the driving seat. How was that race for you, Tia? Because I know you were mathematically in the driver's title, but practically not really.
The last three races has not been good for me. That one was alright actually. It's these safety cars. Every time a safety car comes out, my race just goes. But it was alright. I mean, I was trying to start in the mediums. I think I probably would have been a bit better, but obviously I got a bit tangled up, and then it just put me straight back into the pack. And then on the old mediums, I was a bit, so I just pitted at the end just to get the fastest lap. Almost messed that up actually as well, really wide. But no, I mean the last 3 or 4 races, it's been mainly my teammate getting us the points. And the start of the season, I was doing alright, but near the end, I've sort of fallen off. Just in the races, general, but
I think everyone this season has been very consistently inconsistent, so you're not alone.
yes.
But yeah, I mean, still a great season. Your first ever Tier 2 Constructors title to go with your Tier 1 Constructors title from
Yes,
yonder ago.
years ago.
um, but yeah, I mean, uh, I think nonetheless you can be proud of the season you've had, even if it
Yeah, I think the last
went
three
downhill a bit.
races have not been great, but I have had some okay pace though in between that.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
certain races have had paces, but I just had bad races in general. But no, yeah, it's all been good.
Well, many, many congratulations. You don't have a secret steward's penalty on the horizon that you've got to admit to us now, do you?
No,
All right, that's good.
not that I know of.
I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah, I'll find out later.
But
No.
nonetheless,
Yeah,
congratulations.
congratulations to the winners.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. And we'll see you next season, I presume.
Yes, I'll be there again.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Great to hear. So, thank you all ever so much for watching. Driver of the Day, I mean, is Extra obviously, but sadly we can't get him into interview as he's on PC, but nonetheless, many, many congratulations to him for winning the Tier 2 title in his debut season by countback. And that is only the second time in APPF1 history that a championship has been decided on countback. So congratulations to him. Thank you all ever so much for watching today. I have been Ghost. These guys have been Tier 2. And, well, I promise the carnage of today wasn't what we've had. We've had some incredible racing in Tier 2 the last few weeks. It's just a championship finale with 5 people in it. It's obviously this is going to happen. So, that is the way it goes. So, thank you all ever so much. What a race. What a championship. And I'll see you next season in a few weeks' time for more Tier 2. Goodbye, everyone.